This still right here shows Gary Cooper, who plays Lieutenant Frederick Henry, fighting for the French army. He is an ambulance driver and is seen with this convoy driving to the nearest hospital to deliver injured soldiers from the battlefield. This still right here shows an enemy fighter plane that has been dropping artillery shells onto the hospital and on a nearby restaurant, causing a panic. Subsequently, this still also shows the fear that civilians have to live in during war. As you can see here, the bottom of the plane is lit up to further highlight the features of the plane. And this still here, Frederick Henry and Helen Hayes, who plays Catherine Barkley in this film, are finally left alone for a moment where they sneak off in a somewhat secluded area. At this point, Frederick Henry attempts to give Catherine a kiss. She rejects him and slaps him. This still right here is taken moments after the previous still, where Catherine's shown slapping Frederick. At this point, she asks him to kiss him, which he in turn does. She is very accepting of this kiss, and this is the point where they actually start to develop feelings for one another. If you notice here, it's very dark. There's light shown onto Catherine, and the scene in general is just very, very intimate. This still right here is when Frederick actually leaves the hospital with that Catherine is stationed in. He's eating supper with his fellow members in the army when an artillery strike starts. As you can see here, the explosion from the artillery lights up the night sky, and the soldiers outside are shown marching. Moments after this, the building that they're eating in becomes destroyed, and Frederick is thereby hurt. After the bombing and after Frederick is hurt, he's taken by train to Milano. The train blows smoke, which, as you can see in the still, shows the lettering Milano. After Henry finally arrives in Milano, Catherine has already been reassigned to a nursing position in Milano. Here you can see he's being rushed into the building, and the camera is taken from his angle. He's laying down in a bed, being moved through the hallways. As you note here, the architecture is very brilliant. As you can see, the dome-shaped building, the lights coming in, and it looks overall just amazing. And this still here, Frederick is bandaged up and he is awoken from a coma. Here Catherine comes into the room and greets him with a kiss. He's very acceptable to this as he has missed her from being on the front lines. This is a very passionate moment as well in the film as the two lovers are reunited again. If you notice the lighting here, it is shown directly in the center, further highlighting their two faces coming together, and it's a brilliant shot. And this still here, Frederick Henry is still in his bed in the hospital from being wounded on the front line. Here you can see the spotlight going through the city, looking for enemy patrols, looking for any type of enemy movement, etc. The spotlight here also highlights on the architecture of the city, making the film look beautiful by the architecture. Architecture is pointed again and again in the film, and the light here shown by the patrol further illustrates that. In this scene right here, the father throughout the film finds out about Catherine and Frederick's love. This scene in the film is still taking place in the hospital where Frederick is still healing from his wounds. He finds out about their love because they're holding hands and they openly tell the priest about their love. He doesn't approve of this because it is out of wedlock. At this point, he moves away and becomes deep in prayer. Shown in the background there are two saints as signified by the halos around their head. This also signifies that the priest is indeed a holy man. What he's also doing during this part of the film is blessing the relationship. He is, in fact, marrying them. Simultaneously, while Father is marrying them, they're both holding hands, Catherine and Frederick. They are imagining their wedding if it wasn't taking place during the war, and as it wasn't taking place in a hospital bed where Frederick lays there incapacitated. During this scene, Frederick recovers and is again sent to the front line to go to battle again. He writes to Catherine quite often, but here his supposed best friend, Major Rinaldi, um, every time that Frederick sends a letter, he hits return to sender so they are unable to communicate. He does this because he feels he's losing his best friend, and he does not want him to, quote unquote, lose his head over a stupid girl. At this point during the film, Frederick grows suspicious as to why Catherine hasn't been writing him back. He, in turn, goes AWOL. At this point, we also learn that Catherine is pregnant with Frederick's baby. We find this out because as Frederick finally rushes to the hospital, the doctor taking care of Catherine, who has fainted, has had a miscarriage. We find out the baby was a boy. During this scene of the film, Frederick is shown in a restaurant. In the previous scene with the doctor says that Frederick is unable to see Catherine because she's about to go into surgery. In this part, he is deep in thought and also deep in prayer, asking God to please spare her life as he has already taken his son from him. As seen on his facial expressions, as highlighted by the lighting in the still, he is in grief. He is very saddened by the loss of his son, and he's even more saddened by the possibility of losing Catherine, who is the love of his life. In this still right here, Catherine is shown as dying in the arms of her lover, Frederick. Until this point, Frederick didn't know if Catherine would pull through or not, although the viewer did know that she did not have long to live at all. At this point, she is relieved as she dies because she is, in fact, in the arms of her lover passing away, and also because of the fact that Frederick said that he would love her forever. I chose this still here without any characters because of the extreme symbolism that it shows. This still here shows an artillery shell falling onto a cemetery. The image here is very powerful and symbolic. It shows that during war, the struggle of everybody, even the dead. It also shows the lack of peace and unrest. Here, the director is trying to show that not even the dead can rest in peace here. Everybody is affected by war in various war-torn countries. It is a very powerful still indeed.